we reformed our standing orders, before what used to happen is legislation used to come from the executive. It used to come from cabinet ministers. And if you wanted to pass a private member's bill, you had to seek the authority of the House. It is called leave of the House to get to be able to bring to the floor a proposal for legislation. When we reformed the new standing orders at the beginning of the 10th Parliament, we did away with that, so that it was now possible for members of Parliament, without having to seek anybody's approval, to bring legislation to the House. Now, in line with the spirit of the Constitution, that is made even more emphatic, because when we go to the after the next elections, we will not have cabinet secretaries or cabinet ministers coming to the floor proposing any legislation. All legislation after 2012 will be proposed by members of Parliament, who all will be backbenchers, so to speak, because they will not have cabinet ministers in the House. In April, we had a meeting with all the actors in the implementation process: the Attorney General, the Law Reform Commission, the Commission on Implementation of the Constitution, the key line ministers that we felt had substantive legislative pieces outstanding, that is local government, finance, lands, internal security, and then the head of public service and the PS in charge of the Prime Minister's office, to alert them that we need these deadlines met and we need fast tracking of those bills. We also sorted out some bureaucratic bottlenecks between the Attorney General and the CIC and the line ministers. Now, a week ago, the CIC wrote to all those entities and alerted them that in 2 weeks' time, Parliament will be. Let me backtrack a little bit. We also informed them that in the event that we're going to be close to any deadline and we don't see bills forthcoming, we will use the alternative of getting members of Parliament to privately move bills for proposal and for publishing to be introduced to the House. Now, when a bill is introduced to the House, it doesn't matter if it has been introduced by a private member or it's been introduced by a cabinet minister. It goes through the normal process, and it's an act of Parliament or a bill that has been passed by Parliament at the end of the process. Now, about 2 weeks ago, we wrote to all those entities and alerted them that in 2 weeks' time, we will be back in the House. And we don't have a bill published, and we don't have a bill outstanding in the House. And we have a deadline of 27th August. So we expected them to fast track those processes, so that by the time we go back to the House on Tuesday, we have work. As I speak to you today, and this Friday, I am not aware of any bill published. And we'll open on Tuesday. And if you see the commentaries, it is MPs have to pass this within this time, and Parliament is not doing its work. We have called those entities again for a meeting at the CIC on Tuesday to find out what has been done, what has not been done, and why what has not been done has not been done. I'm aware that Cabinet has met this week to approve certain bills. I'm aware that the CIC has fast-tracked a number of bills. I'm aware that the Attorney General and most people are working very hard. And as I said there, a number of these pieces of legislation have had a long period of discussion. Task forces have worked on them, ABCD. With the police bills, we have had task forces. One headed by Justice Ransley, the other headed by Naikuni. If it is elections, we have had Kriegler. If it is, most of these areas we have had. If it is devolution, we had the task force on devolution. So quite a bit of this substantive work has been done. The issue is in really finalizing that process so that we conclude the process. So that's what I was saying in there, that we expect within these 6 weeks to be able to meet those deadlines. In the event that we are looking at that deadline approaching fast, and it is approaching fast, and we don't have the chance that we are getting some process coming in from the line ministries or the other entities, we will pick it up through that process. The election bills are basically two. One we have already passed. One we are supposed to pass. Not just that, but all the bills that are supposed to be done by 27th of August.